Welcome and welcome back to another episode of my weight loss series. On this channel, we talk about all things fasting, all things weight loss, and all things just being your best self. On today's episode, I wanted to do a weight loss for dummies videos because I know a lot of people, they know how to lose weight, they know what to do, but they don't know how to start. So in this video, we're going to be going into what to do and how to start. And in case you're wondering, what credentials do you have to tell me how to lose weight? Well, let me tell you, I've recently lost 13 kg. I used to be a size 12, 14, more leaning towards the 14, a UK size 12, 14, but I'm currently a UK size 8, 10. I can fit into all 10s. I can also fit into some 8s. Some 10s are getting a bit loose on me. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, but I know when I gain a bit more muscle, I'm going to be like a perfect 10, which is what I want to be. In terms of my actual weight, I used to be 82 kg. So at the beginning of my weight loss journey, I was 82 kg, and currently, as of today, I am 69 kg. So I've lost 13 kg, and I've been maintaining 69 for like the last 3 weeks now. I do want to drop a bit down and go like to 67, but at the moment I'm 69, so I'm not even gonna cry about that. I mean, that's a big jump from where I'm coming from, so I don't mind. And in terms of my height, I am 5'7" or 5'8". I don't know the last time I measured myself, so I really can't say, but as of last time I was like 5'7.5", so let's just keep it that way. So that's like my measurements for those that are interested. So I kind of carry weight differently from people that are like 5'0", 5'2". So I didn't even realize I was gaining weight until other people told me. They were like, girl, what is going on? The cheeks, the back fat was crazy. So I took like a video of myself and I was like, you know what, I've gained a lot of weight and I don't like the way I look. So I sprung into action. So the first thing you want to do when you're trying to lose weight is, if you don't do anything else, without you doing this, nothing is going to change. You need to be in a caloric deficit. You need to be in a caloric deficit. And for the third time, you need to be in a caloric deficit. You need to be burning more than you're consuming. So for example, if you want to lose weight and your normal caloric intake for the day is 2,000 calories, you need to drop that down by 500. So your caloric deficit would be 1,500. Some people would even go like lower than that, but for a healthy balance, I would say only go down by 500, at least when you're starting out, before you get the hang of things. If you get to a minus 500 caloric deficit and you're like, you know what, this is still a lot of food and I'm extra full, like I feel like nothing is happening, I don't feel any changes, then you can probably drop it a little bit. But for the most part and for most people, minus 500 is a good caloric deficit. But if you're somebody like me that likes to live on the wild side and you're like, I can do better than this, I need a bit more deficit, I would say introduce fasting. So for me, I talk about alternate day fasting a lot on this channel, but if you're somebody that's not an advanced faster like myself, I would say start with a 16-8. So delay your breakfast, start eating at like, or even at 18-6, start eating at 12 p.m., 12 midday, and stop eating at 6 o'clock. And because you have like a shorter window to eat, trust me, you're not going to be able to consume as much calories, especially if you're eating all foods. That's another thing I'm going to get into a little bit later. But if you're eating the right kinds of food, it's going to be hard to eat more than you're supposed to if you have a 5 or 6 hour window. So make sure you're in a caloric deficit. And to expedite that process, you may want to add in fasting as well. So fasting and caloric deficit. Fasting will put you in a caloric deficit anyway, but if you're doing a mid-level fast like 16-8 or 18-6, yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder. But if you're doing ADF, you're automatically in a caloric deficit because you have a whole day where you're not eating. So on the following day when you do eat, you can just eat your maintenance or even a little bit more, but you're still going to be in a caloric deficit. Number 2 is eating whole food. So like I was saying, if you're eating the right kinds of food, it's going to be hard to really overeat and go over your calories in a short window. Trust me, I've tried it. So for example, one of my favorite fruits to eat are melons. I can eat a whole melon with no problems because they're so nice, so sweet, so crunchy. So for example, imagine trying to eat 500 grams of melon, and then you want to have a burger, and then you want to have rice and chicken and broccoli. It's going to be hard. But if you're eating chocolate, if you're eating crisps, if you're eating sweets, because they're not filling and they're not whole foods, you would easily go max out of your calorie intake for the day because they're not filling your body. But if you're eating foods that fill in your body, you're going to find it very hard to overeat. So in this process, I want you to focus on high volume and low calorie meals. Fruits are low in calories generally. So imagine you can eat more fruits in comparison to eating more sweets. 20 grams of sweets will probably be the same calories as 300 grams of fruits. So you need to kind of choose wisely. For example, a high volume meal for me, I'm going to try find clips that I can insert into the video, but a high volume meal for me would be, instead of eating toast, eggs, avocado, bacon, I would have eggs, avocado, mushrooms, and chicken mince, turkey bacon. They're all in the same family and they all taste similar. One is high in volume and one is dense. So you want to focus on volume and not density. Otherwise, it can be hard for you to stay full up when you're on any sort of diet because you're going the easy way. You're going for convenience when you can make home cooked meals that are high in volume, more nutritious, and more filling. And moving on to the third tip now, I would say do some sort of cardio. Any cardio works. If you're fasting, the best cardio for you would be walking because you tend to use less energy when you're walking. If you're fasting and you do decide to do things like high intensity training, it's going to be really hard to not eat because you've use so much energy for your workout. So focus on low intensity cardio if you're fasting. But if you're eating as normal, you can easily do weight training, you can easily do high intensity trainings with no issues because you know after doing the training, you're going to be replenishing your energy, replenishing your body. But you do want to do some sort of cardio, any sort of cardio. It doesn't have to be running, it doesn't have to be jogging, it can be walking, it can be using a stepper. There's so many options in 2025, like there's really no excuse. My next tip would be for you to cut out all sugar. Sorry, I take that back. Not all sugar, all processed sugar. I say this because fruits have a lot of sugar, but I would never, anything that requires me to cut out fruits, you can count me out because I would never cut out fruit because life is already hard enough. Why do I need to stop eating fruits because I want to look a certain way? Impossible. So I would say cut out all processed sugar, sorry. For example, we all know chocolates have processed sugar, sweets, iced coffee, fizzy drinks, all of these sweet manufactured stuff, just cut them out. Focus on the good kind of sugar, which is from your carbs, from your sweet potatoes, your fruits. For example, for somebody like me, I don't eat, at the moment, I'm not even eating rice, I'm not eating bread, I'm not eating pasta, but I do consume a lot of fruits. So although I eat low carb meals, my carb intake is still very high because they come from fruits. But that's okay because I know carbs from fruits are good carbs. I don't have to worry about it. It doesn't make me feel any kind of way. It doesn't make me feel bloated. I can eat a whole bowl of melon and I will wake up tomorrow morning feeling good because melon are good for your body. It's not the same as me eating a whole bag of chips or a whole bag of chocolate or a whole bag of sweets. So yes, at the end of the day, sugar is sugar, but what sugar is going to make you feel better? What sugar is going to help you wake up tomorrow without feeling bloated? These are the things you need to think about. You also need to be accountable for your actions, and you can do this by using MyFitnessPal, any kind of calorie tracking app. You want to track what you're eating, you want to track your exercises, just so you can kind of measure your progress and measure from day to day and from week to week how things have changed for you, how things are changing with your diet. You can see like your starting point, you can see what you need to improve, you can see things that are not good and things you can work on. You can see things that need to be better and how to make them better. So if you're going off the top of your head just thinking, okay, I'm gonna eat a tablespoon of peanut butter, and you're just measuring off the top of your head, trust me, you're doing it all wrong. Because if you weigh your teaspoon of peanut butter, I can guarantee you it's not gonna be the teaspoon you think it is. Because a lot of times when we're measuring stuff, we're adding like an extra heap, we're adding like an extra gram that we don't even know. If you measure with an actual scale, you're going to realize a lot of things are not right. They're not the measurement that you think it is. So I would say track your food. I know it can be a bit annoying and it can be obsessive. It can turn to like an obsessive thing, but for like the first month, just track your food. That way you can see if you're coming from a place where you're not tracking stuff, you're not looking at like the nutritional value on the back of the pack. Trust me, start with calorie tracking. At least that way you can kind of know what you're doing, and then you can stop after like a month or two. But for a starting point, you want to make sure you're measuring your food and you're measuring how much calories you're eating in a day, and not just doing like the maths in your head, because that doesn't work. Trust me, it doesn't work. I've tried it. So make sure you're tracking everything that goes in your mouth. And for my last and final tip, I would say keep your journey to yourself. This is not a diet tip or exercise tip, but it's a tip nonetheless. Keep your journey to yourself. The last thing you want to be doing is going around and announcing to everybody, I'm on a weight loss journey, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to lose 5 kg, because trust me, people will try to sabotage your progress. They will try to sabotage your journey. Sometimes they're not even doing it on purpose, but subconsciously they will do it. They'll be offering you food, offering you snacks, offering to go to restaurants. Like, I already told you I'm trying to lose weight. Why are you bringing me Wingstop? So make sure you keep your journey to yourself. If you do feel like you need to tell somebody, one person is fine, write it in a journal. But do not think if you tell people you're trying to elevate yourself, they're not going to try to bring you down. Some people will tell you, oh, you don't need to do anything, it's fine. You don't need to lose weight, you're fine the way you are. If you don't feel like you like the way you are, then the last thing you need to do is listen to people. Focus on your journey, keep it to yourself. When the progress starts showing, people will come up to you and tell you, wow, what you doing? You look different, you look good. But before you start losing weight, don't tell people, don't tell anybody. Let the changes speak for themselves. These are some of the tips that helped me to lose weight, and I believe that if you implement them into your daily life, if you start doing them, you will also lose weight. Thanks for watching. Bye.